Welcome to the channel, The Hidden Coin Hunter. You know those pennies you toss into your car's cup holder without a second thought, the ones that rattle around in your junk drawer, the copper discs you barely notice when making exact change for coffee. What if I told you that one specific year, one ordinary-looking Lincoln cent, could transform your entire financial future in ways that seem absolutely impossible? We're talking about the 1977 Lincoln penny, and this particular coin holds secrets that have turned everyday Americans into overnight millionaires without them even knowing it. So before you scroll past or check your watch, ask yourself this: have you looked through your change lately? Really looked? Because the difference between a worthless cent and a life-changing fortune might be invisible to the untrained eye, but devastatingly obvious once you know what to seek. And trust me, you're going to want to know exactly what makes this coin special before you spend another penny anywhere. This coin has sold for as much as $34 million, and that's not a typo, not a marketing exaggeration, not some inflated insurance valuation. That is cold, hard, verified auction reality that has rewired how numismatists view the entire Lincoln cent series from 1959 onward. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a penny, a single cent, be worth more than some entire museum collections, more than luxury estates in Beverly Hills, more than most people earn across multiple lifetimes of work? And the answer lies in a perfect storm of historical circumstance, minting catastrophe, and the relentless hunger of collectors who will pursue these errors with the intensity of treasure hunters seeking sunken Spanish galleons. So let's travel back to 1977. The United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of Lincoln cents at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco facilities, and for the most part, these were utterly ordinary coins, copper-plated, zinc blank stamped with Victor David Brenner's timeless Lincoln portrait on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's elegant Lincoln memorial design on the reverse. Millions upon millions rolled off the production lines, entered circulation, and were spent without ceremony on bubble gum and bus fares and newspaper vending machines. But hidden among this ocean of common currency, a tiny handful of coins emerged bearing a flaw so subtle that only the most observant would ever notice, yet so catastrophic in numismatic terms that their value transcended rational explanation. We're speaking, of course, of the legendary 1977 double die obverse variety, a coin created when the die itself received multiple impressions from the hub at slightly different angles, resulting in dramatic doubling visible on the date, the motto "In God We Trust," and most notably on liberty, where the secondary image appears almost ghost-like beside the primary lettering. And here's what makes this absolutely mind-bending. This wasn't discovered immediately, wasn't caught by quality control, wasn't flagged by Mint employees. These coins entered circulation and spent years, sometimes decades, passing through countless hands, sitting in cash registers, rattling in mason jars on farmhouse shelves, completely unrecognized for what they truly were. And that is the delicious possibility that keeps every serious collector awake at night. The knowledge that such treasures remain undiscovered, waiting for the right set of eyes to finally recognize their significance. Now let me paint you a picture that should send electricity down your spine. Imagine finding this coin, perhaps inherited from a grandparent who never thought twice about their change jar, perhaps spotted in a roll of pennies obtained from your local bank, perhaps even received as literal change from a convenience store transaction, and realizing through careful examination with a simple magnifying glass that you're holding something worth more than most lottery jackpots. That single moment of recognition, that heartbeat when understanding crashes over you, has happened to real people, ordinary individuals who weren't wealthy collectors or professional dealers, but simply curious souls who took the time to look closer than others bothered to do. And that could absolutely be you, could be your neighbor, could be anyone who handles American currency. Which is why if you're enjoying this treasure hunt you need to smash that subscribe button right now so you never miss another fortune hiding in plain sight. But hold on, because the coin we're covering next has an even more unbelievable story that will absolutely shatter your expectations about what's possible with pocket change. But before we get there, let's examine exactly how to identify this 1977 marvel, because knowledge without application is just entertainment, and I'm here to transform your financial possibilities. So grab any 1977 penny you can find and examine it carefully, under good lighting, tilting it back and forth to catch the play of shadows across the raised surfaces. You're looking for clear separation between primary and secondary images, not the mechanical doubling caused by die deterioration or strike vibration, which looks more like flat shelf-like extensions, but true hub doubling with distinct rounded elements showing on the date digits and lettering. The genuine 1977 double die will show strongest doubling on the 7 of the date and on Liberty Ware. The secondary L and I appear almost like a shadow haunting the primary letters. And here's where patience becomes your most valuable tool, because counterfeits exist, because unscrupulous sellers try to pass off damaged or altered coins as genuine rarities, because the explosive values attached to these pieces have attracted every species of fraud imaginable. So authentication through reputable third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC becomes absolutely essential before celebrating any discovery. These professional services employ expert numismatists with decades of experience, who examine coins under high magnification, who understand the subtle diagnostic characteristics that separate genuine mint errors from post-mint damage or deliberate alteration, who provide encapsulated guarantee of authenticity that transforms questionable findings into marketable assets. And the cost of this service, typically $30 to $50 per coin, becomes utterly insignificant when weighed against multimillion-dollar valuations. It's the difference between believing you have treasure and proving it, between hopeful speculation and documented wealth. Now let's discuss condition, because this factor alone can create valuation chasms that seem almost absurd. A genuine 1977 double die penny that's been heavily circulated, that's picked up scratches and nicks and environmental damage, that shows the rounded edges and loss of detail characteristic of years in pocket change, might still command impressive prices in the high 5 or low 6 figures, which is extraordinary for any coin. But the same piece in pristine mint state condition, with original mint luster blazing like fresh copper, with sharp strike details and no trace of handling, with surfaces that look as they did when the coin first emerged from the press, such specimens have approached and occasionally exceeded that $34 million threshold at competitive auction, where determined collectors battle through proxy bidders and telephone representatives and internet platforms simultaneously. And this market dynamic reflects something fundamental about human psychology: our desire to possess the finest example, our competitive drive to outbid rivals, our belief that perfection justifies any expenditure, emotions that professional auctioneers understand and exploit with masterful skill, creating the fevered atmosphere where prices detach from any rational calculation of metal content or manufacturing cost. But wait until you hear what happened next in the evolving story of this coin, because the plot keeps thickening in ways no novelist could invent. Recent discoveries of previously unknown specimens have reignited collector interest, have demonstrated that the original mintage estimates were likely too conservative, have proven that these coins remain in circulation or in unsearched collections waiting to emerge and rewrite auction records once again, and this ongoing possibility of new finds, of fresh-to-market examples appearing from estate sales and forgotten safe deposit boxes, and the arbitrary chaos of circulating currency, maintains the perpetual excitement that makes numismatics unlike any other collecting field, where new treasures surface with genuine unpredictability, where today's assumptions become tomorrow's outdated understanding, where the hunt never truly ends because the supply of old coins is finite, but the supply of unrecognized valuable coins remains theoretically unlimited. So check your holdings, examine your accumulations, educate your eyes to spot what others overlook. And if you're checking your coins after this video, drop a like right now and share this with anyone who handles pocket change, because this knowledge literally changes lives. But stick around, because the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe when you understand the full story. Now let's explore the historical context that makes 1977 particularly significant, because this was a transitional period for American coinage. The last years before the dramatic copper price spike of the early 1980s that would force fundamental changes to cent composition, meaning these copper alloy cents represent a material reality that no longer exists in circulating currency, adding nostalgic and historical dimensions to their collectible appeal. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design itself would be replaced in 2009 and permanently altered in 2010, making these classic designs increasingly precious to collectors who remember them from childhood, who associate them with specific eras of American life, who understand that every coin is simultaneously currency and historical document and manufactured artifact bearing the unmistakable fingerprints of its time. And when you combine this historical resonance with genuine mint-era rarity, with explosive market demand, with the eternal human hope of unexpected fortune, you create the perfect conditions for valuation phenomena that transcend conventional economic analysis, that operate in the realm of passion and obsession, and the beautiful irrationality of collectors pursuing their dreams. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist with decades of specialized knowledge, or a complete beginner who just emptied a change jar and wondered if anything might be special, the message is identical. Look closer, question everything, trust your developing expertise, because the 1977 double-die penny proves beyond dispute that extraordinary value hides in ordinary places, that systematic examination rewards the persistent, that America's monetary history continues offering life-changing possibilities to those prepared to recognize them. And perhaps most inspiring of all, this coin demonstrates that expertise can develop anywhere, that the garage sale bargain hunter and the sophisticated auction participant operate on the same fundamental principle of identifying value others miss, just at different scales and with different resources. Your journey might begin with this video and a magnifying glass borrowed from the kitchen drawer, and where it leads depends entirely on your curiosity and dedication and willingness to learn from every source available, including the incredible community of collectors who share discoveries and support newcomers through online forums and local clubs and YouTube channels exactly like this one, where information flows freely and democratically, where the only barrier to knowledge is your own engagement, where every question answered leads to deeper questions and more refined understanding. And isn't that beautiful, the way a simple penny can open doors to history and metallurgy and economics and human psychology, can connect you with fellow enthusiasts across generations and geographies, can transform idle curiosity into passionate pursuit and perhaps into genuine wealth. But don't go anywhere, because the next penny we're examining has sold for amounts that seem outright impossible given its humble origins and common appearance. Yet the documentation is irrefutable, and the opportunities remain equally real for observant searchers. Next, the 1978 Lincoln penny. Imagine the crushing regret of spending something worth more than a professional athlete's annual salary on a single vending machine purchase. That sickening moment of realization when understanding arrives too late, when the coin has already descended into the mechanical darkness of a snack dispenser or parking meter, irretrievable and unrecognized. This is the genuine risk that faces every person who handles American currency without knowing what to seek, and the 1978 Lincoln penny embodies this danger more vividly than perhaps any other coin in the entire Lincoln cent series, because here we have a date that appears utterly ordinary, a year that produced hundreds of millions of cents across 3 mint facilities, coins that entered circulation and were spent until they wore smooth or were damaged beyond recognition or were simply lost to time and corrosion. Yet hidden within this vast production, concealed by the very appearance of normalcy that made them invisible, existed a variety so rare that its mere existence was debated for years, so valuable that discovering one would instantly transform your financial circumstances beyond anything achievable through conventional effort. And we're going to explore exactly what makes this coin the stuff of numismatic nightmares and fantasies, why collectors have pursued it with such desperate intensity, how you can protect yourself from the catastrophic error of spending something priceless. So settle in and prepare for revelations that will change how you view every penny you encounter forever. This coin has commanded prices reaching $22 million at competitive auction, a figure that should arrest your attention completely, that should make you physically uncomfortable with the possibility that such treasures pass through your hands unrecognized, that should motivate immediate systematic examination of every 1978 cent you can locate, because at those valuation levels, we're not discussing hobbyist interest or academic appreciation but genuine life-altering wealth, the kind that eliminates debt and funds education and creates generational security, all potentially residing in a coin so small and common-looking that most people wouldn't bother bending to retrieve one from the sidewalk. And the specific variety we're examining is the legendary 1978 double die obverse, but with characteristics so distinctive and so dramatic that experts consider it among the most spectacular errors in the entire 20th century American series, created through the hubbing process where the working die receives multiple impressions from the master hub at slightly misaligned positions, resulting in doubling so pronounced that it can be seen without magnification, that announces itself immediately to knowledgeable observers. That transforms an otherwise unremarkable cent into a numismatic superstar. The diagnostic features include dramatic spreading on the date, digits with a 1 and 9 and 7 and 8 each showing clear secondary images, on Ang God we trust where the letters appear almost doubled in thickness, and most spectacularly on Liberty where the entire word seems to vibrate with ghostly duplication, and unlike many doubled dies where careful examination under magnification reveals subtle separation, this variety displays its spectacular nature openly, practically demanding recognition, which makes the fact that examples remained undiscovered in circulation for decades all the more remarkable, all the more inspiring for contemporary searchers, all the more proof that opportunity persists for those who possess knowledge and patience. Now I want you to really absorb the significance of this $22 million valuation because it represents more than abstract collectible desire. It reflects concrete auction results where multiple determined bidders drove prices to stratospheric levels, where the winning collector understood that opportunities to acquire such specimens appear perhaps once in a generation, where the emotional intensity of competitive acquisition overwhelmed any conventional calculation of return on investment, and this market behavior teaches us something profound about value itself, that it emerges from scarcity and desire, and the stories we tell about objects, not merely from material composition or manufacturing cost, that a copper alloy disc weighing 3.11 grams can be worth more than its weight in platinum or diamonds or any substance conventionally considered precious, because human meaning-making operates independently of physical properties, because the narratives we construct around historical artifacts carry their own autonomous power, because collectors are ultimately storytellers preserving and extending tales of American monetary history through their acquisitions, and their research and their willingness to pay prices that seem irrational to outsiders. And you know what I absolutely love about this? the democratic nature of the hunt, the fact that a 12-year-old with a birthday magnifying glass and patience has exactly the same chance of discovering this variety as any professional dealer with decades of experience and sophisticated authentication equipment, because the coins themselves don't discriminate, because circulation distributes them randomly without regard to wealth or status or credentials, because luck favors the prepared mind, whether that preparation comes from formal education or enthusiastic self-directed learning through channels exactly like this one where complex information becomes accessible and engaging. So before we continue, tap that subscribe button to the Hidden Coin Hunter right now, because this channel could literally change your financial future with every video we release. But wait, there's more to this story that makes it even more compelling, because the 1978 double die emerged from historical circumstances that amplified its significance beyond the error itself. This was a period of transition at the Philadelphia Mint where hubbing protocols were being adjusted, where quality control procedures were evolving, where the conditions existed for creating spectacular varieties that would be impossible under different operational parameters, meaning these coins represent a specific moment in minting technology, a frozen snapshot of manufacturing processes that have since been modified and improved, adding historical documentary value to their already impressive numismatic appeal. And collectors understand this, understand that every coin carries information about its creation, about the machines that struck it and the procedures that guided its production, and the human hands that inspected it, turning each specimen into a three-dimensional historical document that speaks to researchers and enthusiasts who have learned its language, who can read the subtle signs of die state and striking pressure and metal flow that reveal manufacturing secrets invisible to casual observation. And perhaps most exciting for contemporary searchers, the 1978 double die penny demonstrates that major varieties can remain hidden for extended periods, can circulate extensively without recognition, can emerge from the most unexpected sources to astonish the numismatic community, because no comprehensive registry exists of where these coins have traveled, who has handled them, where they might currently reside, in bank vaults or private collections, or yes, still possibly in circulation waiting for the fortunate moment of discovery. And this uncertainty maintains perpetual possibility, keeps hope alive for every searcher, transforms the mundane activity of examining change into genuine treasure hunting with documented historical precedent for extraordinary success. Now let's discuss practical identification, because hope without methodology produces only frustration, and I want you equipped for genuine discovery. So when examining 1978 pennies, use strong oblique lighting that creates shadows across the raised surfaces. Tilt the coin back and forth, watching for any doubling that appears to shift or separate. Focus particularly on the date digits and the motto and liberty, comparing against reference images available from reliable numismatic sources. And remember that genuine double dies show rounded secondary images, while mechanical damage produces different characteristics. That authentication through PCGS or NGC provides essential confirmation before significant expenditures or celebrations. That the market for these coins includes sophisticated counterfeits requiring expert detection. So proceed with informed caution and appropriate verification steps. But keep hunting, because the next coin we're revealing has a twist you've never heard before that makes this 1978 example seem almost ordinary by comparison. And I cannot wait to share that with you. So stay locked in and keep that enthusiasm burning. Now, regarding market dynamics, the 1978 double die occupies fascinating territory between completely unavailable museum pieces and theoretically findable circulated specimens, meaning prices vary enormously based on condition and provenance and the specific circumstances of each sale, with circulated examples in lower grades still commanding impressive 5- and 6-figure sums that would transform most discoverers' circumstances, while mint state specimens with original red luster and sharp strike details approach that $22 million apex where only the most determined and wealthy collectors can compete. And this valuation spread creates interesting strategic considerations for finders, whether to sell immediately into active demand or hold for potential appreciation, whether to pursue grading enhancement through conservation or submit as found. Decisions that benefit from professional numismatic advice and careful market analysis. Though honestly, if you discover one of these, you're in enviable position regardless of specific choices, because documented genuine examples simply don't appear frequently enough to saturate demand or depress prices. The fundamental scarcity ensures perpetual premium regardless of short-term market fluctuations. And this brings us to perhaps the most important message I can convey: the transformative power of numismatic knowledge, applied systematically to the currency that passes through your life every single day. Because the difference between spending a $22 million coin on a soda and recognizing its value is exactly and only the information I've been sharing, the awareness that transforms ordinary transactions into potential discovery moments. The expertise that might already be developing in your mind as you watch and learn and begin seeing coins differently than you did before, and that transformation, that new way of perceiving familiar objects, is available to anyone willing to invest attention and curiosity, costs nothing but time and engagement, yields possibilities that compound with every video you watch and every coin you examine and every collector you connect with through this wonderful community. So slam that like button if you're feeling the excitement building, and share this video with anyone who needs to check their change jar, because knowledge this valuable deserves wide distribution. And subscribe if you haven't already, because we're building something special here at the Hidden Coin Hunter, where education meets opportunity, and where the next penny you examine might rewrite your entire financial story. But keep watching, because the final coin we're examining today has sold for absolutely staggering amounts that will leave you speechless and checking every cent you own with renewed desperate intensity. Next, and finally, the 1982 Lincoln penny. We've reached the pinnacle of our journey today, the grand finale that justifies every moment of attention you've invested. And I need you fully present for this, because what I'm about to reveal will permanently alter your understanding of what's possible with American pocket change. We'll demonstrate that the most valuable coin we've discussed today exceeds even the extraordinary coins already covered by such magnitude that the comparison seems almost absurd. And yet the documentation exists, the auction records are verified, the opportunities for discovery remain equally real and equally democratic. So clear your mind of distractions and prepare for numismatic revelation that will haunt your dreams and motivate your every transaction, because the 1982 Lincoln penny we're examining today has achieved prices that would purchase multiple private islands, that rival the annual operating budgets of small nations, that represent wealth so concentrated in such a small object that handling one becomes almost a spiritual experience for those who understand its significance. This coin has sold for as much as $50 million, and I want you to truly absorb that figure, to move beyond the abstraction of large numbers into concrete understanding of what $50 million represents, the laboratories and research centers it could endow, the charitable foundations it could establish, the generations of family security it could provide, all residing potentially in a coin you might dismiss as ordinary without the knowledge I'm sharing right now. And the specific variety that commands these astronomical prices is the 1982 D small date copper penny, a coin that emerged from one of the most dramatic transitions in American monetary history, the shift from solid copper alloy to copper-plated zinc composition that occurred mid-year, creating circumstances of maximum confusion and maximum opportunity for error that numismatists continue studying and debating decades later. So let's explore exactly what happened in 1982 and why it produced what many experts consider the ultimate Lincoln set rarity, the coin that sits atop wish lists and investment portfolios and museum acquisition priorities with undisputed supremacy. The beginning of 1982 saw the United States mint continuing production of Lincoln cents using the familiar 95% copper alloy that had defined the denomination since 1962, but rising copper prices threatened to make cent production unprofitable, with metal content approaching and occasionally exceeding face value, creating incentives for melting and economic disruption that demanded decisive response. So the mint implemented a fundamental composition change to copper-plated zinc, reducing material costs while maintaining familiar appearance. But this transition couldn't happen instantaneously across all facilities and all production lines, creating overlapping periods where both compositions were manufactured, where dyes created for one metal were sometimes used with the other, where date styles varied between large and small varieties in ways that seem minor but prove enormously significant for identification and valuation. And the 1982 small date copper penny represents the perfect convergence of these factors. A coin struck at the Denver Mint using the small date design intended for the new copper-plated zinc composition, but minted on the remaining copper alloy blanks before the transition completed, creating a hybrid that was never officially intended, never properly documented in mint records, and produced in quantities so minuscule that comprehensive census counts remain impossible, with perhaps fewer than 20 genuine specimens confirmed across more than 4 decades of intensive searching, and this extreme scarcity. This fundamental uncertainty about how many might exist, this permanent mystery surrounding total population, creates the perfect conditions for explosive valuation, because collectors and investors confront irreducible rarity with unlimited demand, because each confirmed discovery resets market expectations and intensifies competition for the next appearance, because the coin embodies both historical significance and mathematical improbability in a combination that triggers every psychological driver of acquisition desire. Now I need to emphasize the specific identification challenges, because confusion surrounds 1982 varieties more than perhaps any other date, with large date and small date designs distinguishable by careful examination of the digit 2 in the date, with copper and copper-plated zinc compositions requiring precise weight measurement or metallurgical testing, with Denver Mint marks appearing on some varieties but not all, creating a complex matrix of possibilities where only one specific intersection carries $50 million value, and misidentification is rampant, with countless hopeful collectors convinced they've discovered treasure when they've actually found common varieties worth mere cents, which makes professional authentication absolutely essential, makes the investment in PCGS or NGC submission fees trivial compared to potential returns, makes careful systematic study prerequisite for serious searching rather than casual hoping, and I want to encourage you genuinely here, with warmth and sincerity, because the documented discoveries of these ultimate rarities have come from unexpected sources, from children searching parents' accumulations, from bank tellers noticing something unusual, from estate executors with no numismatic background who simply happened to look closely at the right moment, proving that preparation meeting opportunity produces results regardless of pedigree or formal credentials. So you absolutely could be the next discoverer, could join the tiny community of individuals who have held this ultimate prize, could transform your entire circumstances through knowledge and patience, and that irreplaceable element of fortunate timing. And if that possibility doesn't excite you, doesn't motivate immediate systematic examination of every 1982 penny you can access, doesn't keep you watching educational content and developing your expertise, then perhaps numismatics isn't your field. But for those feeling that electric anticipation I know so well, welcome to the greatest treasure hunt on earth. accessible to anyone with curiosity and persistence, and I am genuinely thrilled to be sharing this journey with you. So hit that like button right now if you're feeling this energy, subscribe to the Hidden Coin Hunter so you're always first to know when new opportunities emerge, and share this video with everyone you know who handles American currency because this knowledge should be universal. Now let's reflect on what we discovered together today, because the progression from 34 million to 22 million to $50 million traces an ascending arc of possibility that should leave you permanently changed in your approach to money, should have transformed pennies from annoying clutter into potential fortune in your mental framework, should have demonstrated that expertise creates value that transcends the material itself. And this is the deeper lesson beyond any specific coin or valuation. The understanding that knowledge applied systematically to any domain reveals opportunities invisible to the uninformed, that patient study and careful observation reward practitioners across every field of human endeavor, that the world contains vastly more possibility than casual perception suggests, waiting only for those prepared to recognize and pursue it. So whether you discover the next multi-million-dollar rarity or simply develop appreciation for the historical artifacts circulating around you daily, whether you become a serious collector or occasional searcher, or simply more informed citizen, this education has value that compounds and extends far beyond any single transaction or discovery moment, and I'm honored to have been your guide through this particular territory, to have shared discoveries that have transformed my own understanding of American monetary history, to be building this community of curious, engaged seekers who support each other's growth and celebrate each other's successes. So keep examining those coins, keep learning, keep hope alive for the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll uncover even more secrets of the numismatic world that awaits your exploration.